It made it easier for all the generations that were able to pull through the goals and not just pull through the whole Kavanah to get to even higher. And that's what's going to happen. So today is a day that we get choices. We get tremendous choices from the Rabbeim in our own tests, in our own challenges, in our own missionaries. That not only do we have the choice not to be trapped, but to overcome them and even stronger. Interesting that there are many memoirs from the Swedish Rebbe, from the Rebbe, about Yupei Tammuz, and one of the main topics is this Zionist. What's the whole idea of this Zionist? It goes back to a minor in the Good Torah, where the Torah tells us that the Eibishter, the Eibishter tests us. The emotion in the Pasuk is, why does he test us? Love us to know how much we love him. But all the Mepharshim ask, the Eibishter has to test us. Doesn't he know what we're going to do? He knows us through and through. Does he have to make a test to find out who we are? So there is a famous Ramban that the Rabbi himself, the Rebbe, the Tzemach brings the Ramban. The Ramban says the Eibishter doesn't even know, he knows ahead of time. But the Eibishter wants to pay us, not just for our potential, what we would have done, but there's a whole much greater reward by actually going through the test. Then you get to feel, so B'meile, the Eibishter tests us. It's for our benefit to give us the star, or not just having bikoyach to do this, but the star for bepoil. And the Chassidus brings a lot of examples that, for instance, going through Kiddush Hashem bepoil is much greater than the fact that you will be always ready to go on Kiddush Hashem. There's something about actually doing it. But the problem still remains. But the Pasuk says Lodah. But the Ramban doesn't answer at all. What are you going to do with the word Lodah? Lodah, like for the Eibishter to know. So how does it answer? To get the schar for doing, aber in Pasuk steht Lodah. So what does the Alter Rebbe say? What does the Tzemach Tzedek say? What does all the Rabbeim say? That the Lodas goes on the Yid. That if a Yid has a test, he has a challenge, and he overcomes the challenge, he gets to have a deeper recognition of Hashem. Lodas goes on the Yid. That through a test, you get to the Madrega of Lodas. But here there comes a little, very important point. We're Chabad. In Chabad, everything is through avodah. There's no automatics, b'derech memele. By the way, there's no such a thing in Kedusha. So the Alter Rebbe says, and the Tzemach Tzedek says, Haki, you can get to Lodas, but im ein bina, ein das. You first have to learn Hasidus.
And you have to work on yourself to think Hasidus and work on yourself. And then when you will overcome a test, you will then not just understand what you're learning, but you will become a part of it. You'll have das, you will have a deher, you will recognize asistakazoi. So what's tonight? What's today? Yud Beis Tammuz, Yud Gimel Tammuz. In simple words today, the Eibishter is giving us tremendous koiches. The Rebbe taught us over and over that every year, when it comes, let's say today is a new Tofshin Pei Beis Yud Beis Tammuz, it's not a replay of Yud Beis Tammuz of last year, of 2 years, 10 years. The Rebbe taught us that every year there comes a new Hamshacha, so much so that there was never a Yud Beis Tammuz like the Yud Beis Tammuz of Tofshin Pei Beis. So the Eibishter is giving us today, never gave us so much koiches as he's giving us today. But what are we supposed to do with this? The whole idea of a Fabrengen is not a ritual. What does it mean in simple English? A day could come and a day could go. It just passes through. But we don't, perhaps if we don't stop and set up a time to internalize what is being given to us today, then what's going to be with us? The Eibishter gives us these koiches to utilize. There's no free gifts. Everything is for us to work on. So the Eibishter made this whole idea of a Fabrengen. Bachsidim and Fabrengen is a Inyan Ikri. Why is it so important? We have to stop and think, what is this day gonna do to me in my daily life? How am I going to start a new Toisvis Chayis in Limud HaTorah, in Kiyum HaMitzvahs, Mitzvahs Behida, to daven differently, to learn differently? Oh, then that was exactly the plan why the Rabbeim made. If you look at the letters, the Frierdiker Rebbe wrote to all the Hasidim after he came out, that people should come together and have Fabrengens. That was one of the Hoiros. There was a Hoiror. He said, my Morim Asara, to learn Asara Sheyoshem B'Torah, which incidentally, you are so fortunate that this Kavi is here, this whole Shia of learning in the summer. This is, you're blessed that the Eibishter gave you this Seichel. This is mamish what the Rebbe wants from us. And you are, Baruch Hashem, setting up special time in the summer to be Moisif and Shiurei Torah. This is mamish what Yud Beis Tammuz, what the Rabbeim asked for in the Mamorim. It's so appropriate to have a Fabrengen Yud Beis Tammuz for this Shia, for these Shiurim, whatever you call it. This is mamish exactly what the Frierdiker Rebbe and the Rebbe is asking, to take hachlotis in habotzis haTorah, to be moisif in Torah. This is the greatest nachas for the Rebbe. The best present we could give to the Rebbe is what you are doing. And the Eibishter should bench you. You should go mechayel el chayel, and there should be more and more people joining. V'chein yiru, v'chein yasu. It's pashit, a tremendous nachas ruach to the Rebbe. I want to tell you, I'll share with you some inside stories that Perhaps you never heard this before, but I was privileged to hear this from my father, who he would very often go into the Rebbe, and the Rebbe used to share with him many issues of Lubavitch, things that bothered him very much, and wanted things to change. And he would echo this to my father. One of the times that my father went into the Rebbe expressed himself. Why is it that when he passes shuls on President Street in those days, there was not only Lubavitch, there was a lot of different shuls, there was koilelim. And the Rebbe said, why is it that when he passes by those shuls, Koil Torah, 11, 11:30, 12, whenever the Rebbe, why doesn't he hear this by us? This was something that the Rebbe was very, very bothered. Who are supposed to be the most ruchnistic people on this planet? It's Chabad. It's a chapashat tezach. There's no place that learns about the Eibishter so much. In Achtus Havaya is Chabad. So, b'meile, who should be the people who are immersed in Torah? Balabatim, even though they work during the day, but you have to have Kriyas in the Torah, and you have your life is supposed to be really Torah. Who, if not Chabad Hasidim, are supposed to be doing this? We don't deserve any special award. This is supposed to be a natural circumstance. There's no group of people that are so immersed in the Eibishter as Hasidim Chabad. So it got to match with what they're learning, with their conduct. So the Rebbe was always pained. Tavas melik nicht in learning why he passes by shuls and he doesn't see by our shuls a koil Torah at night. So the fact that there's such a shiur here, shiurim, whatever you call it, what is it called?
Summer learning program.
This is the greatest nachas we could give the Rebbe. So you deserve tremendous brachas, and people should learn from you. You should try to get as many people to join. If there's one thing we owe to the Rebbe, it says kemayim hapanim lepanim. We have to realize how much the Rebbe is doing for us. Now, doesn't he deserve back whatever we could do back to the Rebbe to give him nachas? I want to share with you, I say this all the time, and maybe you have the sefer here. There's a sefer Hamamorim Tafshin Gimel from the Frierdiker Rebbe in the middle of a mimer, like you wouldn't believe in this mimer what this comes in. And no less, the mimer is on page 75. If you have a Tafshin Gimel here, is there a Tafshin Gimel here? For sure. Okay, so we can see it right here. The mimer states, you might want to hold on to your chairs because I don't want you to fall off. In this mimer, the Frierdiker Rebbe writes, speaking about the Rabbeim in Gan Eden. And it says there that the Rabbeim have a set time, seems like every day, to help the Hasidim down here on earth. To help them in their limud HaTorah, in their kiyum HaMitzvahs, to help them pass their own nisyonis. It is amazing that our Rebbe should share with us what the Rabbeim are doing for us. Everything that we have is because the Rebbe is thinking about us and is being mispalel for us and cares for us. So we should be always thinking, if the Rebbe is doing this all for me, he has nothing else what to do in Gan Eden. Take a day like Yud Beis Tammuz. The Rebbe could have he could be verbringing with the Baal Shem Tov and with the Rabbi and with the Chia Shaloni. And what is the Rebbe doing? What is doing with my boys down here? How I could help them in their kiyum mitzvahs, in their struggles.
75?
I think it's 75 or 85. I'll know in a minute. Tavshin Gimel. This is a mitzvah to everyone who has a Tavshin Gimel. Should make a photostat and hang it up at your desk. So it's not 75, it's 85. Yeah. No, that's 95. 1 second. Okay. Okay. Are we ready? He's talking about Avodas HaTzadikim in Gan Eden. And he says the following, I'll read it out loud. Va'avodas ha'ishaskus, that the Rabbeim are doing in Gan Eden, is helping b'siyua, lebalei tshuva, ve'oiskim b'toiro mitzvahs. The yesh zmanim. There are times that the neshamas in Gan Eden are busy in our Ave V'yira. There is a time that they're busy learning Torah. Every tzaddik, every neshama in his mesifta. And then the Rebbe says, V'yesh zmanim sh'aneshamas asukos. They're busy awakening rachmim by Hashem on the neshamis sheba'al badein u'mesayim lohem, and these tzaddikim, the rabbeim, are helping us by fanim shoinim in so many different ways. Hein lamoid b'nisyonos. We should be able to overstand, pass our own tests. V'hein ba'avoda the Torah mitzvahs, v'avoda shebelev, and the Frierdiker Rebbe in middle of this maimer, b'siyua sheyesh boi mamish. This is substantial help. And he continues, ki yadua, that there are people who have chaloimos and chizyonos of the Rabbeim, people who are mekusha to the Rabbeim. How are they mekusha? To learning their Torah, and they lift themselves up through learning the Torah and through davening, and they are mezachach their heart and their nature, and mekayim mitzvahs b'chayis gadol behido v'zrizus. And why do you think you're doing it? You think it's you? You're out to lunch. It's because the Rebbe is, this is what he says here. It is all coming because the Rebbe is helping you. They are helping you want to continue doing mitzvahs, being Mekai mitzvahs behida. This is a moiridike thing. Because if we didn't read it, so you say, how do you know? Maybe yes, maybe no. But our Rebbe spells this out. Now there's no question that the Rebbe, the reason that we're here even today by this Farang, and you think it's your decision. You could have said, I'm busy, I have to babysit, I have to be home after. The Rebbe schlepped you here. I once heard from the Rebbe, once by a Farbrengen, the Rebbe was talking about these neshamis that go only to Yiska, that come only once a year to Yiska. And the Rebbe was saying how precious that is. One could think, the guy, you don't see him a whole year. He's coming with his, with a whatever, and he's coming to Yitzchak. The Rebbe said that his parents and great parents are schlepping him to Yitzchak. The Rebbe is schlepping us the whole time. So we owe him everything. We owe him. What do we owe him? That he should have nachas for us, that we follow what he wants us to do. And what you are all doing to making shiurim summer, to learn, to use out this time, this is mamish, definitely the greatest nachas ruach that you're giving to the Rebbe. I want to share with you a story, a very powerful story about the Rebbe and how he cares for us. Let's say l'chaim abyssal the meantime. L'chaim, l'chaim. There are many things that we don't know that it's all coming from the Rebbe. So I want to share with you a very powerful story. When I was learning many years ago, I learned in Bedford and Dean. I don't even know if people know what I'm talking about, but there was a yeshiva in Bedford and Dean. And I was about bar mitzvah age. And in my classroom, there was a boy who came from a very Hasidic home. His father was even one of the shluchim from the Frierdiker Rebbe. But unfortunately, he had a yerida. I don't know how they call it today. He slipped in Yiddishkeit. And in those days, in those early days, it was like unheard of. A Hasidic home to give up the Yiddishkeit was unheard of. So we all the Bachrim, we all knew about this. This was like a very unusual thing. But I must share with you this part of the story. This boy's father went into the Rebbe one day on Yechidus, and he said to the Rebbe, he spoke of course in Yiddish, and he said to the Rebbe, Ich bet dem Rebbe soll in Sinn haben mein Sohn. This in English, it means, please Rebbe, keep my son in your mind. The Rebbe said to him, you have to remind me about your son. Do you know how many tears I shed by the tzion of the Rebbe, the Shver, he used to call it, for your son? Really? You're telling me it? This is what the Rebbe said. That means, let me just mefarish this. In simple English, it means that the Rebbe was saying, you gotta remind me to keep. What do you think I'm doing all the time? I'm crying today, Eibishtam, by the tzion for the Frierdiker Rebbe for your son. You're not finished with the story. When I finish the story, I think you should really hold on to your chairs because you're might chas v'shalom fall down. This boy that the Rebbe said that I cry for him, I didn't see for 50 or 55 years. I didn't see him. I don't know what happened to him. One good afternoon, I'm walking on Eastern Parkway, and who do I see? That guy. That guy who at that time slipped in his Yiddishkeit is now a fromme Yid, a Zayde from our generation and noch a generation, and is a fromme Yid betachlis. I couldn't believe it, like I had a flash. This is the Rebbe said. I shed tears for him. So I go over to him with a big Shalom Aleichem, and I tell him, I remind him the story. I said, I can't believe this. And I told him what I remember that the Rebbe said to his father, that he's crying by the seeing for him. When I told him this story, he was turning colors. I think he was crying in his eyes. And he says that he doesn't remember such a story. But he says, you ready for this? But he knows of another story with him and the Rebbe. Years later, he was in his 20s, and he was driving in a car in a very high mountain in Canada, somewhere, I don't know where. And no less, this car on a very high mountain tipped over, the whole car, and kept on rolling, and he could have been chopped liver. It wouldn't be here in this world. And he's telling me that later he found out that exactly the moments that he fell off the cliff, the mountain, the Rebbe buzzed Rabbi Groner and said, go find out how this guy is doing. You understand? What does this mean in French? That the Rebbe was in touch with his neshama. He knew that he's in a sakana, and he saved his life. The same guy who, without solicitation, the Rebbe said, I cry by the oil for him. The same Rebbe, without solicitation, he didn't call the Rebbe while he fell off the mountain. Now, Rebbe, I need help. For many reasons. First of all, there were no cells in those days. Number two, the minig is that when you fall off a mountain, you're not exactly in the shape of calling anybody. And number three, he wasn't going to call the Rebbe because he was like, it's still not exactly with the program. But the story is an amazing story. That the Rebbe is with us all the time. Beruchnius, begashmius. This is a moiridic story that I witnessed with this guy. This is just one out of thousands of stories. The Rebbe, we are Pashit. We have the greatest chus on this world to have a shaykhis with the Rebbe, and that the Rebbe has a shaykhis with us. I heard from two American Jungelite who are Talmidim in Tomchei Tamimim at the first years when the Frierdiker Rebbe came to America. And they both spoke at occasions, and I heard this twice from two different Jungelites. Now they're Skanim, or I don't even know if they're still around. And they said that when they went into Yechidus to the Frierdiker Rebbe as Talmidim in Tomchei Tamimim in 770, the Frierdiker Rebbe said to them, spelled it out. Aye Elteren, your parents are your fleischige Elteren. And I am Aye Elteren than Aye fleischige Elteren. And I am your father, Beruchnius. The Frierdiker Rebbe said this. And I'm going to tell you another story. If this is not going to knock your socks off, I don't know what will. There was a bacha in the time of the Frierdiker Rebbe, an older bacha who was having difficulties finding a shidduch, because the Lubavitcher Bachrim in those days, a Lubavitcher bacha is a different kind of a bacha. And who's going to marry? What kind of women are going to marry a Lubavitcher bacha? Doesn't have no college degree, doesn't have no mock of panasa, everything. He's a battling. So there was a lot of older bachrim who had great difficulties doing a shidduch. There was one bacha who did a shidduch with a former family, and there was already a tanoim. But the zayde of the kala was a big rab, at least in his eyes, he was a big rab, and he felt this is not a bakavidik shidduch. I come from a rabbanish, and this guy is just what he poo-pooed the shidduch. The shidduch, he made no more shidduch. Are you ready for the story? Erev Yom Kippur, the Frierdiker Rebbe already wore his kittel. He's going to Kol Nidre. And he calls Rabbi Mentlik Olav Shalom, who was the Rosh Hashiva then. And the Frierdiker Rebbe says, go call the Zayde of this Kala or whatever, and tell him that I am the Oimid Mitzad HaChasim. You want a yichus? I'm the, you understand what's going on? Before Nile, Kol Nidre, the Rebbe, Frierdiker Rebbe is wearing a kittel. And what does he say? Tell this guy, if he learned, I am the Oimid Mitzad HaChasim. You could be sure that so nuts the guy wasn't, and right away became the shidduch. But this is a moiridik story. Everyone that's here today, the Rebbe is our father, the Rebbe is our mechutin. We should be dancing. But what should come out of this? We have to day and night give the Rebbe nachas, that the Rebbe should be so happy that we're going in the ways that he wants us to go. And this is what you people are doing, being mamshich, making shiurim and Torah. This is mamish, the greatest nachas ruach you could give to the Rebbe. L'chaim, l'chaim.
Everyone to watch. I might see all those on the table.
Ay, 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 yadam, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, oh, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, ay. Ay, 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 oh, oh, yo, ay, 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 ay. yay, oh, yadam, oh, yay, yay, oh, ay, mama, yay, 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 oh, yay, 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 yay. Ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, oh, my, ay, 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 oh, oh. Ay, ay, oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 oh, boy. Ay, ay, oh, ay, 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 oh, oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 ay. Oh, you die. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yo, yo. Ay, ay, oh, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 oh, ay, oh, ay, ay, oh, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, ay, 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 oh. Ya, yadam. Oh, ay, 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 ay. Oh, ay, 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 ay. Oh, ay, 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 oh, boy. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Oh. L'chaim. The theme of Yud Beis Tammuz, what we heard from the Rebbe, the inyan of Mesiras Nefesh for Yiddishkeit. The whole life of the Frierdiker Rebbe, everything was till the end. No compromise, everything, whatever it takes. The word Mesiras Nefesh is translated in Chassidus that the word Nefesh could mean soul, but Nefesh could also mean Ratzain, will. The whole world is known to know that by Shema Yisrael, in many, many Sidurim, in small words, it says that before you say Shema Yisrael, you should be mechaven, that you're willing, you're ready to give up your life al Kiddush Hashem for the Eibishter. It's interesting to note that in Hasidus, that is not what Shema Yisrael is. That is B'chol Nafshecha. And it says B'chol Levavcha, and then it says B'chol Nafshecha. So Hasidus says B'chol Nafshecha, to give up Al Kiddush Hashem. So what is Shema Yisrael? A whole different idea. Limsar nafshoy be'echad, to give up your will to Hashem. Being ready to jump in the fire for Hashem is a one-time project. But what about willing constantly to give up what you feel like doing and going against what you feel like doing? That is something that is a constant struggle, to give up your will. I don't have my own will. No one's asking me, are you in the mood? How do you feel about this today? In Hasidus, this is a treife word. This is like, are you kidding? Who is asking you? Do you feel like? Are you in the mood? I don't like. I do like. We are here to serve the Eibishter, and this is not even negotiable. What's asked from a Chassid when he says Shema is to commit himself to give up his own desires, his own pleasures. You do not come first. You don't even come second. In the Ivre of Hasidus, say a guy says, I'm not in the mood. I don't feel like. You would even be embarrassed to say such a ridiculous thing. Oh, you don't feel like? That's a reason to do. That's not a reason not to do. You're so lucky. You don't want to do, and now you're going to go against what you will. This is unbelievable. They tell a story of a chassid who went into the Tzemach Tzedek, and he complained to the Rebbe that he doesn't feel like learning Torah. A problem. And the Tzemach Tzedek said, I got a bigger problem than you. I do want to learn Torah. What are you talking about? What it means is, when you like to learn Torah and you enjoy learning Torah, that's not avodah. Avodah means you're going against what you like. So if you don't like to learn and you learn, this is the greatest thing. I got a problem. I love to learn. For me, I have the Tzemach Tzedek says, for me to learn, just because Hashem said so, is difficult. This language, this is a very important fundamental principle by Hasidim. There's no such a thing as I'm not in the mood, or I don't feel like. You know, this is not a popular thing lately, but we're missing very basic Judaism today. The word mitzvah means command. The Eibishter is a melech, and the melech commands. The Alter Rebbe in Igeres HaTshuva, when he talks Pashit, simple 101, Al Pi Nigle, what is tshuva? He says tshuva means you take upon yourself to listen to whatever Hashem commands. Because if I don't, I'm rebelling to the Melech. It's not about you're going to go to Gan Eden or you're going to have brownie points. There's a melech, and he's mitzaveh. And if you don't follow him, you are moired b'malchus. This is something that we need to work on. We got to brush up on the basics of Judaism. The Eibishter is a melech. And not only that, the Alter Rebbe in Perek Mem Aleph adds to what was already in the Shulchan Aruch. The whole Shulchan Aruch begins Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Summit. The Ramah starts the Shulchan Aruch that a Yid has to realize that the Eibishter is right here. The Alter Rebbe makes it much stronger. Number one, the Alter Rebbe writes, he's not just here, he's staring at you. Mabit. In Hebrew, there is watching, and strong looking, staring at you is in Hebrew, mabit. Habote. Alter Rebbe writes that the Eibishter is staring right at you 24/7. And what does he want? He's staring at me. What does he want me to do? To do the mitzvahs? No. He's saying much more. More than what it says in the Shulchan Aruch. In the Shulchan Aruch, you could think he's watching, he's here. If I'm following the mitzvahs, he's standing here. I gotta obey the orders. The Alter Rebbe adds, he is staring at me. Not just are you doing the mitzvahs, how are you doing the mitzvahs? Im oivdai karoi. Are you giving me lip service? Are you just going through the motions? Or are you for real? That's what the Eibishter is staring at us. Im oivdai karoi. This is a shakaru. That does not say in the Shulchan Aruch. The Alter Rebbe starts off the Tanya with the words Mashbi'in Oisoi Tehi Tzadik. I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of people here in this room who never asked this question. Why is the Alter Rebbe spending 15 prakim? What is a tzaddik? What's a benini? I have nothing else what to worry. Is that my first problem in life? What exactly is a tzaddik? And what is a ben? What are we graduating, getting a PhD in how to become a tzaddik or how to become a benini? It's so against the whole idea of Chassidus. We're not here to become a certain Baal Madrega. We are here to serve Hashem, whatever it's called. Like the Rebbe taught us and banged into our heads. Oh, Ani Nevresi L'Shamesh Eskoini. That's why I'm here. I'm here for the boss. And the Rebbe brings that there's another Gerse, much sharper. The other Gerse is Ani Loi Nevresi Ela L'Shamesh Eskoini. There's no other reason I'm here. So why in the world is Alter Rebbe spending 15 prakim? What's a tzaddik? What's a this? Is that the first thing you got to know about Chassidus? And we better have an answer to this because we're all learning Tanya for so many years. We don't get it. What does the Alter Rebbe want? But the pshat is like this. The Alter Rebbe is going to prove al pi nigler the importance of learning Hasidus Chabad. A must. How does he come to that? So let's go back to the first line. What did it say in this paraisa? That a neshama, we know from Hasidus that a neshama could wait for thousands of years. When can I come down on this world to do mitzvahs? You know how it's kind of waiting thousands of years. When can I come down? The neshama waits and waits. It's going out of his mind. He finally is about to come down. I said, wait a minute. You're not coming down yet. I need a commitment from you that you swear that you're going to be a tzaddik. And if you tell me, Eibishter, I'll try my best. How about a Beinani? You're not coming down. You're going back where you started. Imagine the neshama is waiting 3,000 years to come down. And after all that, you're promising me I'll try my best, or I'll be a Beinani. I'll try my best, Rabbi. You're not coming down. I need a shvuah. So number one, we see from this paraisa, how much does the Eibishter want this? We're not about to figure out what I would like. Who is asking you what you would like to be? The issue is, what does Hashem want from me? You want to know what he wants? This Gemara is pretty strong. This Abaraisa, it's so noigeya that you're not coming down till the Eibishter hears a Shavua. So we know already that to Hashem, it is most important that we be a tzaddik. So what is a tzaddik? So the Alter Rebbe brings all kinds of gemaras back and forth to prove al pi nigler, raw nigler, that the Eibishter wants much more than to be a frume yid betachlis. A Beinani. A Beinani in Tanya. You gotta be kidding. Lo yava v'lo yava liyolam. A Beinani, never did he make a mistake, never will he make a mistake. That is pretty strong. And the Eibishter says, guess what? You don't promise me you're going to work on to be a tzaddik. You're going to be a Beinani. You're going back where you came. Wow. So obviously, Hashem wants from us much more than to be a Shulchan Aruch Yid and to keep every mitzvah behiddur. He's still not satisfied. So what does Alter Rebbe demonstrate? Al pi nigler. What is the difference between a Beinani and a tzaddik? A Beinani is one who is full control in machshava, dibur, umaisa. Never fails. 24/7. Every machshava, every dibur, every maisa is exactly what it says in the Torah. So what's left? You would think that's it. So the Alter Rebbe explains that the Eibishter wants everything from you. He doesn't only want your actions, he wants you. He wants your whole soul. Your whole love should be to him. Your yira should be to him. Your whole soul should be dedicated to him. What is that called in Chinese? That's a tzaddik. A tzaddik is a person who works with his animalistic soul, refines his animalistic soul, has a love to the Eibishter. The Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, we have to know this because this is 101. The Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, Perik Dalid. We're not going too far. Perik Dalid. That if you don't have a love to Hashem and you don't have any yira to Hashem, you are a hypocrite. You're not being Mekayim mitzvahs be emes. What is the flip of emes? If it's not emes, it's what? Then you're shakran. It's not like it's a nice thing, Ava Yira. Oh, you got some Ava Yira. The Alter Rebbe spells it out. If you don't do mitzvahs because you want to be close to Hashem, so you're just going through the motions. So what? Then you're not being Mekayim BMS. And the Eibishter warns BMS. Just like if we had workers working for us, and you have guys working for you, and their heart is not in it. They wish they could get out. You know what do you take with those guys? You have them for a few years, and then you would make Hag Galila with those guys. They say, you're not for me. You're not into this. You're not dedicated. So the Eibishter says the same thing. I need you to be for real. That is why the Alter Rebbe says in Perik Mem Aleph that the Eibishter's mabit imoivdei karoi. Because if it's not karoi, you are a faker. You're going through the motions, but you wish you'd be somewhere else. I need your sincerity. I need you all together. How do you do this? How do you become for real? Hard enough to keep the Torah mitzvahs, to be a Beinani. And now we find out the Eibishter is still not happy. He wants us to be for real. The only way is through Chassidus Chabad. You have to learn about the Eibishter. You got to be intellectually convinced that the only reality is the Eibishter. This is a life project. This doesn't take a day, doesn't take a year, a whole life you have to give up. To always remember that the Eibishter is the only reality. If you learn Hasidus and you take it serious and you realize this is Noigeya to the Eibishter, then you learn Hasidus differently. You learn Hasidus because this is Noigeya to me. This is what it's all about. It's not an extras. It's not a dessert. It's not something nice, inspiring. That is why I'm here on this world. I promised the Eibishter I'm going to be for real. What am I doing about it to be for real? So getting back to this whole shmooze. Today is Yud Beis Tammuz. Today we are given koiches like never before. But we have to make sure that this Yud Beis Tammuz doesn't come and go and we're on to the next. We got to internalize this day. Make use of these koiches that we got today and work with ourselves. Make a resolution that I am going to be for real. And I'm going to work to be a chassid like the Rebbe really wants me to be. I want to bring out another topic that I think is worthwhile talking about. It used to be something that was understood. It was a given. But unfortunately, today, we got to talk about it. The whole Hasidus is to become greater Yerushalayim, more aware of Hashem. It has to translate into daily life. If we learn Hasidus as a topic, inspiring topic, we're misusing it. Hasidus is material to change. There's nothing more powerful available today than Hasidus. But the only way it's going to change is if you want to change. If that's why you're learning Hasidus, I'm learning material to change. So it's important that after we learn a mimer, we learn it again and again. And then we have a heart-to-heart talk with ourselves. I don't know if we ever did that. We're so busy. We have to sit down with ourselves and say, what are you planning to do with this mimer? How are you planning to bring this mimer into your life? That's the only reason Hasidus was given. Material to change, to become more refined, to more dedicated to the Eibishter. But if you don't learn it for that reason, it's not going to happen. It's just going to, life is going to move on. We got to take Hasidus to heart. It's the most powerful material that there is. There's nothing like it. But if we're not going to apply it to ourselves, nothing is going to happen. Take, for instance, the Sefer Tanya. I was told, I'm a Johnny come later, I'm just, a young man, but I was told that in the olden days, Hasidim lived with the Tanya. That was day and night, Tanya, this was like engraved in them. They were walking Tanyas. Everything is in the Tanya. It's the most powerful sefer that there is. But if we learn it that way, we realize that every word in the Tanya is mamish negeya b'nefesh. I want to share with you, when I was a bacha in the yeshiva, I had the schus to go into the Rebbe every year from 10 years old. And I wrote to the Rebbe hundreds of times in Avodas Hashem, different things that were bothering me. And the Rebbe always answered me, but always would quote something from the Tanya. He trained me. Every issue of a chassid, of a yid, everything you'll find in the Tanya. You just gotta look for it. And many times the Rebbe would take a few lines or a few words from the Tanya, quote, tell me where's the page, where's the thing, quote, Tanya. All the generations, they learned so much Hasidus, but what was their bread and butter? What did they live day after day? What did they live? They lived with the Tanya. It is known by Hasidim that the Alter Rebbe, in the Hakdama of the Tanya, he writes that he wrote the Sefer to the people that he knew. So it's explaining that Because I know who you are, I take the liberty of giving you different ideas. So we have the Kabbalah door after door that the Alter Rebbe was not just talking about his generation, but every generation. The Rebbe is saying, I know you inside out, and I have your answer for your problem. So we owe this to ourselves to learn Tanya differently. I could give you examples of things that are in the Tanya and we don't even think about it. And out the Rebbe, you can't even move without. I'm going to ask you all a question, and you don't have to answer me. You could answer to yourself, but see if you have the answer. The Alter Rebbe wrote that the whole Tanya is to answer a question. Says in the Torah that to keep Torah mitzvahs is karay v'lecha hadava miyoid. That to be a from a yid is very possible. Oh yeah, very possible. I mean, first of all, it doesn't mean easy. Some people think karay does not mean easy, but karay means it's accessible, very possible. Anybody that knows anything about Judaism knows that to be a from a yid 24/7, every second of the day, and Torah's emes is talking to every Jew, and Torah is saying it's very, very possible. So the Alter Rebbe said, my whole reason of writing the Tanya is to answer, what does Hashem mean? So my dear friends, you all are Hasidim, you're all going with the uniform as if you are the Lubavitcher Hasidim. Do you have an answer? How did the Alter Rebbe answer this question? He wrote this whole sefer based on this. Where's the answer? And if you don't know the answer, then you are, please, you'll excuse my expression, you're out to lunch. That you don't even know what the Tanya is, you don't even know basic 101 Tanya. The whole Tanya is on this question, and he better come up with a good answer, because the answer is supposed to be for everyone. The Torah was given to everyone, not to tzaddikim or beinanim or kangaroos, every it. And it says, Ki karay v'lecha davar miyot. And the Alter Rebbe wants to know what that means. Is there anybody sitting here, Yud Beis Tammuz Tavshin Pei Beis, and has a clue what is the answer? So if you don't have the answer, this means that you didn't learn the Tanya. You're saying chitas, you're going through the motions, but you don't even begin to understand what is the Alter Rebbe's answer. So what do we got to do? We better starting to be for real. We got to learn the Tanya again and again, till I understand exactly what was the question and what is the answer. And how does the answer to me? I am supposed to have this answer. I'm supposed to feel that it is karay v'lecha davar miyot. It got to be pretty convincing. Because if it's only made for the elite, or for the mystics, or for the tzaddikim, the Chumash is written for everyone. So, I would like to suggest that we at least start learning in the Tanya from Perek Yud Ches till the end of Chaf Hey. That's not the whole Tanya now. It's just from Yud Ches till the end of Chaf Hey. And you got to learn it and learn it and learn it till you got the answer. And then these parakim you got to be thinking about your whole life. You got to daven with these parakim. This is basic Tanya. So, l'chaim, everybody should have a tremendous hatzlachadik year. We're getting koiches today. Never were we given such koiches, but we got to use them out. We cannot make chas v'sholem that these koiches should be wasted. We have got to utilize these koiches. We got to make a resolution tonight that I'm going to start being for real. L'chaim, l'chaim. Ya 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 yom. Na na ya 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 dam. Ya 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 ya. Aha ya ya ya. Ya 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 dam. Na ya 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 dam. Na na ya 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 ya. Ya. Aha ya ya ya. Ay 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 do. Ay 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 oh yeah yeah. Hey, ay, 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 oh, you know. Hey, ay, 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 oh, yeah, ay, 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 oh, ay. Adayam, ay, 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 oh, yeah, oh, no, hey, ay, 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 oh, oh, my, ay, 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 oh, yeah. Ay, 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 oh, you know, ay, 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 oh, ay, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. What time is it now? No, it's working. No? Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Ah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Ah, yeah, yeah. Ah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Ah, hey, yeah, 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 yo, yo, yeah, oh, yeah, 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 ay, 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 oh. Ay, 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 Rama, ay, ay, ay. Oh, no. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 yo. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 yo. It's very known to all of us that there's a quote from the Medrash Tanchuma that the whole Hasidus is about this line. There's a line in the Medrash Tanchuma, Nisave HaKadosh Baruch Hu Liyos Loi Yizbarech Dira B'Tachtoinen. Sounds simple, sounds plain. And that line, in middle of a Medrash Tanchuma, Hasidus says that's the secret of the whole religion, the whole Torah, all the mitzvahs is a plan, a program to get that the world should become a dira b'tachtonim. There's nothing more burning on the agenda of Hashem than he needs a dira b'tachtonim. There's nothing. There's nothing burning more than the Eibishter wants a dira b'tachtonim. The Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, what happened by Matan Torah? Everybody knows, Matan Torah, the Eibishter said, Aser Tzadibris. There was thundering, there was lightning, our neshamas were popping out, the place was freaking out. What does the Alter Rebbe say? What happened by Matan Torah? Unusual. The Alter Rebbe says, what happened by Matan Torah? Hashem showed us a sample of the final product that he wants. He wants it should be a dir b'tachtonim. How could it be? What happened? We saw that the world and the Eibishter is one. The world was saying Anochi Hashem Elokecha from Mizrach, from Ma'arif, from Davam, from Tzar. The world and the Eibishter is one thing. That's what happened by Matan Torah. We saw Achtus Havaya. We saw Ein Od Milvadai. We saw Ein Od Milvadai. The world, how the world and the Eibishter is one. And why did we need to see this? We needed to have a picture. What does Hashem want? What is this religion all about? What's supposed to come from this? What's the final product? You want to know the final product? Oh, I've just showed you. But now it's temporary. But this is going to be permanent. This is tremendously important for all of us. Dira betachtonim is what it's all about. Before we go any further, I need to clarify something that's very important to talk about. Everybody's talking about Moshiach, Moshiach, Moshiach. What does Moshiach mean? Why is it so important that Moshiach has to come? Because the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya that when Moshiach comes, that's when there is Dira B'Tachtonim. Perek Lamed Vav. Dira B'Tachtonim will be Yemois HaMashiach and Tchias HaMeisim. It's Mashiach means in French that the kavanah of why the Eibishter created the world finally happened. So Mashiach is not like there's a Mashiach and then there's the Mashiach. It means the Eibishter's kavanah of why he created the world. Why am I putting on tefillin? Why am I davening shachar? It's all to make this world a dir v'tachtonim. There's nothing more important. That means we need Moshiach. And the Rebbe was so frustrated. I don't know if you're allowed to use these words. He couldn't believe, after all the time we're learning Chassidus, and we don't put the dots together, that Moshiach is the most important thing. You're learning Chassidus, you yo-yos. You're learning all about Dir B'Tachtonim. Oh, really? Is it? Oh, yes, it's kind of important. Yeah, I'm sure it's very important. But I'm not going to lose sleep over this. Then you don't know what you're learning, you guys. You're learning and learning and learning. And everything is Dir B'Tachtonim. The ganze Torah mitzvahs weiter Dir B'Tachtonim. Everything is that should be a Dir B'Tachtonim. And if there'll be a Dir B'Tachtonim, there won't be a Dir B'Tachtonim, then what are you doing? Why are you doing mitzvahs, B'chlal? If you didn't learn Chassidus and you didn't put the dots together, that the ganze kavanah of Torah mitzvahs is that it should bring a Dir B'Tachtonim. So Dir B'Tachtonim is one thing and Torah mitzvahs is another thing. But if you're learning Chassidus, and the whole Chassidus says it so clear that a blind bat could see this, that the whole Chassidus is telling us that the Eibishter needs a Dir B'Tachtonim. And if you don't, you're not in a rush, and you don't even it's like I can live without it too. Then what are you learning? Then you push it. You don't even know what you're learning. That was the Rebbe's frustration. That we're not asking for Moshiach with an emes. Why? Because we're out to lunch. You're learning and learning and you don't know what you're learning. You got to know one thing. What does the Eibishter want most? That's all I'm here for. I'm here for him. And he needs Dir B'Tachtonim. Nothing more important to Hashem. When is that going to happen? That means Mashiach. It's not about you. It's not about your comforts and all the good things that are going to happen when Mashiach comes. It's about the boss. So the Rebbe was so frustrated. How don't you connect the dots? How don't you connect? What are you learning? Don't you get it? So if you're thinking about Hashem, you would want to make sure that Hashem's desire, you're working for him. That's why you're here. So you want to make sure that your boss is happy. Where am I leading to? The Alter Rebbe in Perek Lamed Gimel in Tanya. You ready for this or you're not ready for this? The Alter Rebbe says black on white that when a chassid, when a yid thinks Achdus Hashem. He explains it. What means Achdus Hashem? Perek Chav, Chav Aleph, Chav Beis, Shayich Dvamuna. He brings down in logical terms how you could understand with your mind that the Eibishter is the only reality. Says the Alter Rebbe, when a Yid thinks about Achdus Hashem and it's registers in his mind, it's clear to him in his mind. Says the Alter Rebbe, V'zu hi dirasai b'tachtonim. That's dir b'tachtonim. You want to know what the Eibishter wants most? He wants a dir b'tachtonim. You could do it. You can make, you must make, it behooves you, you owe it to Hashem. He wants this from you. He wants that you should think about Achdus Hashem till it's clear in your mind. And that moment that you have that clear in your mind, at that moment the Eibishter moved into your brain. And that's why he created the whole world. That's why he invested everything he has for that. And you could be the one to do that. So learning Hasidus, it's the Gay and the Kavanel Yoina Dira B'tachtoinim. So the Alter Rebbe was Moise Nefesh. Everybody knows the story that Alter Rebbe had information that there's a terrible decree that he's going to have to Chas v'Sholem leave the world for taking Hasidus and bringing it down to logic. And he was about to leave the world. He wasn't going to stop what he's doing. I'm continuing. Why? Because if that's the whole Kavan al Yoina, he's going to give up his life. What happened? We all know that the Dvairaleya overheard the conversation that Alter Rebbe said to a few Hasidim, and she was willing to go instead of the Alter Rebbe, and Alter Rebbe accepted it with some conditions. Why? Why did he was willing to give up his life? Because he knew that the kavanah is dira b'tachtonim, and dira b'tachtonim means in the brain of a yid. How is it going to be in the brain of a yid without Hasidus Chabad? It's never going to happen. If it's a munah, you don't. But if dira b'tachtonim means in the seichel of the yid, it's negay. There's nothing more negay to the Eibishter than dir b'tachtonim. So if it means he's going to leave the world, he'll leave the world. But this has to happen. Oh, if that's the case, then we guys, we owe it to the Alter Rebbe. We owe this to the Eibishter. If this is what dir b'tachtonim means, if you never learned Hasidus, and you didn't learn about dir b'tachtonim, or you didn't know that dir b'tachtonim means in your brain, you saw that it means in the Gashmistic world. Well, my brain is another story, okay? But the Alter Rebbe says, no, it means in the human brain of a yid. How is that going to happen? The only way is through Hasidus Chabad. Learning about Achdus Havaya, thinking about this, going through it, all the details till it's clear, you're convinced logically, yes. At that moment that it clicks in your mind, what just now happened, the Eibishter moved into your brain. And that's why he created the world. L'chaim, l'chaim. Ay, 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 da, da, da. Ay, 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 ay. ay, 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 ay. Oh, hey, Nato, kel mistater. Oh, hey, Nato, kel mistater. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, ay, nato, kel mistate. Oh, hey, nato, kel mistate. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. I want to tell you. Huh? You want to make an announcement? Later. So you're going to make an announcement later. So you can make it now.
The early Meyer of 9:05 is gonna be in the side room over there, and also the 9:30 Meyer. Then over here, we'll have the spring is gonna,
Okay.
and at 10 o'clock, we'll have Meyer here.
I'd like to share with you a very interesting story. Many, many years ago, I had this chus to go to Russia when it was still communist Russia. There was an organization here in Crown Heights called Ezras Achim, and these were a quiet group of Hasidim who dedicated their lives to help the Yidden in Russia who had Mesiras Nefesh for everything in Yiddishkeit, all the way. They didn't have any money because most of them were refuseniks. Refuseniks means people who applied to leave, and soon as you apply to leave, you're finished. Because you're not going, you can forget about leaving, but the fact that you applied means you're an enemy to the country. You automatically lose your rights to work. And if you don't work, you go to jail because you can't live off you're called a parasite. You're living off the government. So you walk around with a passport wherever you go. And if a policeman sees you, he'll see on the passport, do you have an employment? Once you are a refusenik, you got no employment. So you're finished. And these were Yidden who had no parnassah, no future. They never, ever dreamt that they'll ever leave Russia. It would forget it. Nevertheless, they had Mesiras Nefesh on everything. So I want to just share, we're talking about learning Hasidus. I visited homes where people were middle of learning Hasidus in Russia, in communist Russia, with open svarim, learning from Ksav, from writings. I couldn't believe that there could be such Jews. Before I left, I saw a video of who are these people that we're going to visit, who are people you're allowed to talk to, because there were so many informers there. The rabbi was from the KGB, the president of the shul. Every official was really from the other side. You had to watch every move, who you're talking to and what you're saying. So let me just tell you some fascinating stories of how far they went to have a shaykhs to Chassidus and to Yiddishkeit. One of the people that I saw a video before, he was a bacher, an older bacher. I heard about him that his father and parents are from the KGB, his parents. And he is a Chassidish bacher. He had to be afraid of his own parents. And I saw a picture. This is the guy you could talk to. You ready for this? So I go into the official synagogue. There was only one official synagogue in Moscow, the head shul. The rabbi is a Massa. The president is a Massa. Anybody that has any title there are informers. So there for sure you watch, don't talk a word to them. Now this bacher pretends, I came there for Shachris, he pretends like he's davening. He's shuckling like that, and he's talking to me. You hear? He says to me in Ivrit, because I couldn't speak a word Russian, and if you were talking, I don't know what he's talking about. And they taught themselves Ivrit. And he's telling me like this, don't say a word here, I'll meet you at this and this street. You know what a shock I had? Like, could you imagine the guy is afraid to talk to me because he's talking to a foreigner, and this KGB here, you're connected to a foreigner, not to a Lubavitcher, forget it. So he had to pretend that he's looking in a sitter, and he's down, he's telling me, don't say a word here, I'll see you at this place. So we left after davening. I met that guy at that place, and we both hopped into a taxi. What was his first words to us? What's the pshat in this and this minor? Can you believe this? Nothing else. There was nothing he had a problem, an issue, nothing. But what's the pshat under? I saw this with my own eyes. The Mesiris Nefesh, the thirst for Chassidus, for Yiddishkeit. It was unbelievable. I went into homes where in the homes they asked us not to talk, but just to write, because the walls were tapped. You understand? Their walls were tapped, and it wasn't that they were afraid it was tapped. It was for sure tapped, but they wanted to learn. So we had to, everything was on paper. Could you believe this? That's all they want to know is pshat here and pshat here. So we went once to one of the apartment houses. It's all apartment houses. And the couple were going, both the husband and the wife were attending a university. And when you are in the university, for sure, you cannot talk to foreigners, but you're going to give out military secrets. You understand? It's all military. So they had more Mesiris Nefesh by meeting us in an apartment house, because every apartment house has a guard who came in and who left. There's no such a thing as an apartment house, you just come and go. There's somebody there watching. Every apartment house. You go to a hotel, every floor of the hotel, there is somebody supervising this hotel. What time did you go down? Who did you go up? The room that you went into was bugged. You can't pick a hotel. I'm going to take a hotel. You go exactly the hotel, the room that you're going, they know already before you got there which room you're going. That room is already prepared with all the mics and all the things. Whatever you say is recorded. And yet, what do they want to talk about? What do they want to know? I'll tell you another beautiful story. When I went that year, I don't remember exact date, but the Rebbetzin, you hear? The Rebbetzin, our Rebbetzin, the Rebbe's Rebbetzin broke her leg. And they knew this all the way in Moscow. There was a Yid, everybody, Mustam, a lot of you heard, there was a Yid, Reb Getche, was an elder chassid who davened for the Amid in this shul. He davened Ba'arichas. Half of the people are communists, but he's davening there like there's no tomorrow. 10 o'clock, he davens, Mila, B'Mila. He knew that we're coming. And we can't talk to him in the shul. If it looks like he knows us, forget it. But he had this burning desire. I need to know how is the Rebbe. So this Reb Getche, who knew that we came, in a second, in like a split second, he turns around to us from his stand for the Amid, and one question, was macht der Rebbe? Could you imagine? That's his only concern in such a hell. Was macht der Rebbe? So we, talking Yud Tammuz, we see a Nefesh for Yiddishkeit. I witnessed that. I witnessed Yidden who gave up everything for a mitzvah, for a hidden mitzvah. There are women we brought along with us. We brought kosher cheese for people. If there's a woman that's muberes and she needs, they're not going to eat chalav akum. So if there's no chalav yisod, you don't eat it. But these Ezes Achim had information that there are people who push it. So we took along hard cheese, and the response was everybody would want to have this. The first response was, we know somebody who needs it. They didn't take it for themselves. They said, we know somebody who's pregnant, she needs this. We took along Shmura Matzah. This was in the winter, December. It was like giving them diamonds. They were waiting, counting that they should have a little piece of Shmura Matzah for Pesach, saving it for months. It's just unbelievable. I was Shabbos in an apartment. Those days, all the children have to go to school. The school is also open on Shabbos. The former Yidden didn't want their children to go Shabbos. But there's no such a thing if you don't go to school. You have to go to school. So what did they do? They always played sick. Children sick. So how long could you make this story up? So I was in an apartment on Shabbos where the government came looking for the girl. It was a girl. Is she really sick? So what did they have to do? They closed the door. I mean, no, I didn't open the door yet. They heard banging. She jumps into a bed and she's sick. You know what it means to live like that? Shabbos after Shabbos, day after day. So we, Yud Beis Tammuz, we have to also have a little bit, go out of our comfort zone and have a serious nefesh in our lives for the Eibishter. We have to knock out this whole idea of, I don't feel like, I'm not in the mood. This is treif chazer, such an attitude. We have to have a serious nefesh for the Eibishter. I was there when there were two bochrim who told me that to go sukkis to a sukkah was only one sukkah in the whole Moscow. The sukkah was in the shul. The shul is stacked with KGB. So it's not only that you don't have a sukkah, only one sukkah. The sukkah that is around is guarded by the KGB. That means if you go to that sukkah, you're finished. So I met these Bachrim who took them 4 hours one way to go to that sukkah. on Yontif, one way, and going to a place that is a trap. You go there, you're finished. This is what I saw. Only with Hasidus can you live like that. Nothing will stop you. In fire, you know the niggin, in fire, in water, nothing will stop a chassid. So Yud Beis Tammuz is Mesiras Nefesh. There's no I, no capital I, no small I. It says in Derech Mitzvah and Mitzvahs Achtas Hashem, the ganze whole idea of Hasidus is Nishtar Kan Ich. Today, no one knows what that means. It sounds like a name of a bubble gum or something. No one never heard of this. No. In the olden days, the biggest insult, you tell somebody you are yesh, it's the biggest insult. Say to somebody today, you know you are yesh. He'll say, excuse me, or same to you. You don't even know what you're talking about. Why is it not even something known? We don't even, what happened to us? We missed the boat. With Baruch Hashem, we're very big on bittul, with just one little problem. Everybody else is bittul. Everybody else is nobody. A person who has that attitude, that alle done garnished, you don't have any shaykhs to Hasidus. You're a major misnagit, like in the time from the, who knows when, from Slabodka, from Vilna. We are the same people. Everybody's nobody. We're very good in bittul, but the only problem is it's under somebody else. Bittul. We're mavatal everybody. The whole Hasidus is not to be from everybody to learn from. For everybody has a mile that I have to learn from. And now, nobody's anybody. Nobody. Who is he? Who is he? Where is this coming from? This is paper the whole Hasidus. We're pushed so far from the truth. What happened over here? How did this happen? This one is nobody, this one's a nobody, everybody's a nobody, just besides me. I have my opinion, and I have my hergish, and everybody else is not just bottle, he's not just killer, he's law. You know, there's a Hasidus, there is killer, and there is law. What is the attitude today? Law. Nobody. Who's that guy? Nobody. How did that happen? How did this happen? If that's what Hasidus says, we gotta go back to the basics. We better get back on track. With that kind of an attitude, we have no shaykhs to Hasidus. We're learning and we don't even know what we're learning. We're not translating Hasidus in simple words. We're talking about the Zayin Rekiem. Today we say Shema Yisrael. And what we do, we move the head like the Rebbe, right, left, bum, bum, bum. Mizrach, Ma'ariv, Dorem, Tzofin, when battle the Zayin Rekiem and the Oretz. What did the Zayin Rekiem do to you? You have a problem with the Zayin Rekiem. They never hurt you. You could live without them. So big deal. You're going to battle the Zayin Rekiem and the Oretz. You're not Yoitzi. You forgot to include yourself, your yo-yo. The Zayin Rekiem battle, big deal. You moved your head. You don't even know what they are. Forget about your mavatal. Don't tell me. Tanya should tell me what exactly are the Zayin Rekiem. You don't know. But they're nothing. They're not. They're bottle. So you're Yaitse. Is that called Yaitse? You're pushing nuts. Who are you kidding? You're moving the head. Doesn't cost any money to move. You swing your head. You think about yourself. You are nothing. Oh, that's not going to go so easy. I guarantee you that. It's going to take you a long time to be convinced that you're nothing. How come it's not? It's one, two things. The chazan, you can't even say it quick enough because you didn't include yourself. You thought about designing the key. You have a problem with designing the key? No problem. They never bothered you, right? Me too. I get along with them fine. I wish I knew what they want. And yet, boom, 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 out they're all bottled. So we push it, a bunch of monkeys. That's called Shema Yisrael. Limsa nafshay be'echad is ich b'mevatel, the Zayin, the Kiyim, and the Oretz, and I mimicked the Rebbe, and I got it to the T. Instead of giving this guy with a garbage can over his head, this is how you said Shema Yisrael. You didn't even think 1 second that you are nothing. Hello? So what are we, robots? Are we for real? Hello? We got to start taking life serious. Are we Hasidim or we're fakers? Boom, 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 boom. So we're supposed to be Pneumiya. So Chabad is Pneumius. So we go into a Polish shul and they say Shema Yisrael, you hear Kvitcherai, Eichod, the place goes ballistic. Chabad, we do this with a Pneumius. We make boom, 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 and a edict, and that's Achta Savayim. Something is wrong over here. Something is wrong over here. What is going on? How come it's so easy? How come it's so easy? The Alter Rebbe once came out and he said a mimer, the whole mimer was 30 seconds. And the mimer was, Ma Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Why does the Dalet look like a hatchet? Because you have to knock the Echad into your head. And when he said that, it was like a Scud missile fell on the head. That's Echad. Echad, you got to knock this into your head. And what's the problem? Why do you have to knock it? Because the Eibishter and you are a head-on collision with God. Hashem says, I am the only thing there is. You say you are the only thing there is. You're not getting along. You really have a serious machlokes here. So it says the Alter Rebbe, it's not going to go that easy. You got to knock it in. You got to make up who's moving in and who's moving out. You know, you have sometimes an Oirach. You ever heard the story that the Oirach came to somebody and they asked Oirach, how long are you planning to be here? How long? I'm waiting for the Balabos to move out. You understand? You got to make up your mind. If you're letting the Eibishter in, you gotta move out. Because man, you're not moving out, you're not letting him in. That's what Echad is. But if you're just swinging your head right, left, yeah, no problem. Who's not letting him in? You. You're not letting him in. They asked the Kotzke Rebbe, where's the Eibishter? So he answered, wherever you let him in. Who's not letting him in? You! We're falling asleep already, the people here. Okay, so we could have Maya already. So let's just conclude. Hasidim, when they verbring on such a holy day, it's a day to take life more serious. We gotta take life serious. We gotta utilize the koiches that we were given today. We were given today more than we were ever given. And we can't disappoint the Rebbe. He's pouring and gushing everything to us. We can't just continue the way life was today, like yesterday. We'll just continue. He's not just continuing. He's giving us so much more. So we have to keep on going, stronger and stronger. And we can't let that all the Rebbe's efforts should chas v'sholem get weaker. When the Rebbe said that the last thing that is left is we have to be mekabel pnei Moshiach tzidkeinu. What does that mean in simple English? We gotta be ready to face the truth. There's gonna come a time that we're gonna have to answer, what did I do to bring Mashiach quicker? Was I an obstacle to him? Maybe I'm not letting him come. We're going to have to smell the coffee. We're going to have to face reality soon. The Rebbe is giving us, giving us, and giving us, and giving us. We can't just keep on going like yesterday, like 2 days ago. We'll just keep on, keep the flow. They're not going to make him happy. He's giving us more and more day after day. He never stops giving us. But we have to continue doing that. We have to keep that pace. So what's the whole idea of Farbrengen is to stop and think, what am I going to do about it? We have to take it serious. I told this story, I don't remember, was it yesterday? I'm going to share with you a big secret, but it's very negaya to know. The Rebbe used to verbring, we all know, Shabbosim, Yubei Samus, but there's something that not everybody knows. The Rebbe had a secret KGB guy, a chassid, who had to report to the Rebbe after a verbringen, who remained after the verbringen to see, to implement what the Rebbe asked by the verbringen. He wanted to know who remained to have a meeting or something. What can we do to bring out what the Rebbe said? He needed that Reshima. Would you believe it? You couldn't fool the Rebbe. He needed to know who is Noigeya, the Rebbe's words. Who remains? I can't go sleep tonight before I see that we get to work. So we have to do the same today. We got to talk to ourselves tonight, maybe when you go home and you lay Christmas Shalamite and speak to yourself, have a talk with yourself, sit him down and sit yourself down and say, what are you planning to do with after this Yud Beis Tammuz? Are you just going to continue or you're going to really move it? That's what the whole purpose of a Farbrengen is. It has to make a new kind of a life. Growing, going higher, stronger. It's just like the Rebbe wanted a Reshime. He wants to know also, he's looking around, what's going to be tonight after this Farbrengen? Are we going to just go home? Or are we going to see what can I do with myself that the Rebbe should have nachas for me? We should have ants in the pants. We should be have a drive in us. I can't just go on like that. I gotta grow. I gotta go with the speed. The Jews in Russia, they never dreamt they're gonna go out. And yet they were gonna give up their lives on every mitzvah every day. So why are we allowed to just go to sleep? And they didn't do this because they thought to come. They had no dream they're getting out. That means this is going to be their life forever. But nothing stopped them. So why are we so content? I'm going to share with you a short little story that has a lot of meaning. Once the Frierdiker Rebbe, when the Frierdiker Rebbe was in Warsaw, and the yeshiva was in Atvatsk, that was like a suburb. And one time, the Frierdiker Rebbe suddenly, spontaneously came to the yeshiva. No one knew that the Frierdiker Rebbe was coming. And when he came, he wanted to daven mincha. So they davened mincha. But they didn't say tachnun. So the Rebbe, Frierdiker Rebbe, turned to my father, who was then the menahel, and he asked, how come they didn't say tachnun? So my father replied, well, the Rebbe is there. You ready for this? So the Frierdiker Rebbe said, as a Rebbe is there, is a reason not to sin, but not a reason not to say tachnun. What's the message? We have a Rebbe. That could be a ayah. But if you have a Rebbe, then you gotta meet. You gotta be on that level. It's mechayev you. It brings. That means you gotta work harder. Not a free ticket. There's another story. The Frierdiker Rebbe once there was a chassid who wanted a chap shrayim. Everybody knows what that is. And the Frierdiker Rebbe said to that person, "Bei uns is shrayim nicht nur mezake, Nosson mechayev. If you're going to take this shrayim, you better shape up. We have a Rebbe. There's nothing greater." But that means then it demands from us a whole different kind of a life. It doesn't work just we got a Rebbe, yippee-yi-yay. I heard this story. It's a very important story that I'd like to share with you. In Australia, many, many years ago, there was a professor Hasofer, if you ever heard of him. He was a Makurev to the Rebbe, a Baal Tshuva, a Gehoib and a Yid, and he had a Gehoib and a Rebbe. One time, this Mrs. Hasofer had a friend who was not well, and she made it her business to travel all the way to America from Australia, from Sydney, to ask a bracha for her friend. The story was that she was pregnant, and never she lost her child. So when she went back to Australia, her friends were telling her, you shouldn't have gone. It's not healthy for a pregnant woman to take such a long journey. And you blew it because you traveled. It bothered her very much. So she decided that once she's coming again to the Rebbe, she's going to ask the Rebbe in person that was this a mistake that she shouldn't have gone. So she did that. She went again to the Rebbe, and she was by Yechidus, and she asked the Rebbe, is it possible that is why she lost her child, because she traveled while she was pregnant? So the Rebbe said to her, it has nothing to do with that. However, anytime that you need to talk to me, you don't have to travel all the way here. You could go to a corner and talk to me and I will hear. And she traveled later and spoke at conventions and related the story. The Rebbe is available to every chassid. I saw this myself in a sikha from the Frierdiker Rebbe. 2 different stories. One of the stories the Frierdiker Rebbe writes that it's Bora, it's for sure, that when a chassid reminds himself of a yechidus, let's say that he had with the Rebbe, at that moment that he relives his experience, no matter where the Rebbe is in Gan Eden, he will turn to him. This is a Rebbe saying this. We have, the Rebbe is totally devoted to us. Whenever you need him, he's there for you. There's even a sikha, a letter from the Rebbe about a picture. We also say something like that when you look in a picture, you're talking about the Frierdiker Rebbe, he will turn to you when you're looking at this picture. These are words from a Rebbe. It's not like a haggish that you need to take bromo seltzer for the heartburn. This is right from the Rebbe. The Rebbe is with us. L'chaim, l'chaim. We get down in Ma'ariv. We're going to say grace after a meal or something here. The Eibusher should bench us to give the Rebbe nachas, to be real Hasidim, for real. L'chaim, l'chaim. Oh, you're going to bench the people who watch?
Anyone watch?